God, let's drink.
Let's drink. And without consulting with one another prior, all three of us had a very similar idea for what we wanted to do with our cocktails. So, who wants to go first? I'll go first. Obviously, the name of the episode is Nightshade. Nightshade is a poisonous berry. It's a poisonous plant. It does have these beautiful berries, as Esther tells us, that have this wonderful sweetness that you can make a tart out of as well. Side note, berries are not edible either, right? So yeah, it would just be a poison tart. That's amazing. I need to start growing some nightshade. So keeping that in mind, obviously a berry inspired drink was first and foremost on my mind. Since I don't have, sadly, any nightshade at my disposal, though, I decided to go with blackberries and boysenberries, since I have both of those readily available. And being on a farm, there's also going to be lots of herbs and whatnot. You see the herbs that are hanging in her in that kitchen area as well that are all hanging to dry. So I decided to make an herbal inspired cocktail. It is muddled blackberries and boysenberries with a sage simple syrup that I made, mixed with lots of gin, because gin is a very heavily botanical based liqueur. I want to use something that was going to be strong and also like play more into those botanicals. So I used prairie organic gin because, life on farm, prairie, home companion, yada yada. Cut with a little bit of soda water so that way it fits nicely into this goblet. So this is my prairie home companion.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. It does look pretty.
I made something super similar. So I went with gin, elderflower liqueur, a sprig of rosemary, and a little elderberry syrup, because I'm not going to be putting nightshade berries in this thing. Elderberries look really, really similar, but they're not going to kill you like a nightshade berry would. So at least I got the color going for me. That's pretty much all I got. So gorgeous. I chose gin for the same reasons you did. I did rosemary instead of sage. Also very medicinal. Yes.
All right. Mine's pretty much similar. Like definitely blackberries, same thing. I did a blackberry shrub because Roxy taught me how at some point in the rewatch when we did a tasting with Dawn. So I did a blackberry shrub with raw honey and cinnamon. And then I did a simple syrup of thyme and whiskey and a splash of lemon. All of those components... Roxy, you covered the blackberry. Now, I rabbit holed a little bit in this episode. So I think it all worked out for me in the end, and I tried to incorporate it all into all these ingredients in the cocktail. I don't think it veered me off too far as to what this episode was actually about. But you know that scene with Serena and Tuello, and she gets like nose to nose with him. And then the next scene... Fred gets right in Serena's face, and it's almost that same shot. And so that really kind of like jumped out at me. And then on my rewatch, as I'm going through because I was already kind of looking at how many times people have this like face-to-face confrontation, it happens throughout the episode. It's really cool. Just about every character has this like hard truth confrontation that they have to like literally face as the person is delivering this news to them. So that was kind of the thread that my notes took throughout this episode. And the truths are very different things for different people. And that is why my drink has all the different components. So cinnamon is symbolic of stability and soothing warmth. And that is exactly what Esther is seeking when she begs June to take her with her. And that's a real hard truth that June has to accept, that she can't leave her behind. She knows she can. I knew she couldn't. So cinnamon for that. Whiskey, because it's a cold, hard truth that June is going to have to make a run for as soon as the episode starts. They know they're going to be on the move, and everyone, that safety that we got to enjoy for one episode where we talked about Gilead being out there, but they're nice and safe, that is over. So that cold, hard truth in the beginning for whiskey. And the thyme is symbolic of courage and sacrifice. And I think that is exactly what June is doing through this episode. Like, we have been really hard on her in season 3 because she's had to make a lot of hard decisions, and she's acted very rashly. And that comes up again in this episode. But I just feel like she's gotten to a point where she's accepted that ruthlessness is something she has to do in order to be this resistance. And it's a hard truth, but she's accepted it. And that was kind of interesting and really cool to watch in this episode. So that is my drink. That's why I thought it was going to be very
Cool.
different. And it made me laugh that you guys were basically drinking the same thing. I just kind of went about it a different way. But I did start with the
Yeah.
blackberries and nightshade.
I think that's awesome. Yeah, we were all sharing a brain today, I think.
Yeah, agreed. Well, ladies, here's to sharing a brain and a drink with you two.
Cheers.
Cheers.